Hi everyone, it's Ella from Ella Web Design and welcome to my podcast from 0 to 25K for women who want to have a better work-life balance. And today I'm joined by Mara Riopel. It's a lead generation and sales expert. Hi Mara, how are you?
Hi, great. How are you?
And today we will be talking about, lead generating strategy, because you all know that having a beautiful website, it means nothing if you don't have traffic, if you don't have leads to your website. By the way, if you haven't downloaded yet, I just want to remind you that I have free checklist, 20 ideas how to drive leads to your website. And one of the ideas is summits and virtual events. And we'll be talking today about this today. So if you haven't downloaded it, you can download it from ellawebdesign.ie/attract. Okay, Mara, would you like to introduce yourself properly?
Sure. My name's Mara Riopel, and I would say, a busy mom of 4. I just had my 4th baby. Finally got a girl, 3 boys, and now a girl. I live
Congratulations.
Thank you. I live in Canada. I'm in Alberta, Canada, and I have been online for about 5 years now. My background was in commercial insurance sales. I did that for 10 years, and I was 6-figure successful before I left. I was successful on paper, but totally burnt out and unfulfilled and running my health into the ground. And I decided to, take the big leap and do it a different way to find more work-life balance, I guess you would call it, even though that's not really a balance thing for me.
Right now, wait.
Yeah, right now it feels like running a race underwater all the time. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me. My background was certainly in sales. And then when I came into the online space, I fell in love with online marketing. I actually started out in network marketing, but then I got obsessed with, the online marketing and sales piece of things and how to build a brand and an audience. But the biggest thing for me was the first few years, I would put out so many events and I would put out so much content, and it's so disheartening when all you hear is crickets on your stuff. And so I realized after a while that lead gen was the biggest missing piece for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I think for everybody.
Yeah, I think everybody gets really excited about visibility, like content creation,
Yeah.
and then they get really excited about sales, but they forget that the middle pillar is actually driving traffic and bringing leads in.
Mm-hmm.
Because lead generation actually means you have to generate the leads. They don't just show up. And I think, that's one of the hardest things of online business is finding the right people for your offers. And so I ended up going all in on summits, and that's how I built my whole email list, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it because I'm really big on collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
And the beautiful thing about hosting your own events like that is that eventually a lot of your speakers come full circle back and say, hey, I'd like to have you on my podcast, or I'd like to have you on as a speaker on a summit or a panel that I have, or a giveaway that I have coming up, and so all of a sudden it's almost like that ripple effect that, yes, you started it by hosting the events in the first place, but now, you're being featured on a bunch of other people's events and podcasts. And so your visibility and reach starts to grow organically, and which is awesome. And so I'm like a huge, huge proponent of collaboration to grow your business.
Great. And tell me, just going back to your beginnings, when you were only starting, how long does it take you to get from 0 to 25K?
I did not start making money, like more than a couple $100 a month kind of thing, until I started hosting summits and then virtual events on the backside to nurture and convert.
So when was it? It was like how many months or how many years after starting your own business?
Oh, after starting like online? Well, including network marketing, probably like 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
But once I started going all in on lead gen, like hosting the summit, I started signing high ticket one-on-one clients.
So it was like a breakthrough for you. So
3 months it took me. Yeah.
So because people has different journeys. Some people has like a steady grow. They are growing like through growing steadily, and some people has nothing, crickets, and then a milestone, then a breakthrough, and it starts to get all together. Yeah. So in your case, it was this breakthrough, the summit.
Yes. Well, I also pivoted and shifted a lot of my, like what I was doing in my business. So when you start an audience in one direction and then you pivot, and you start another audience and then you pivot, like, it takes a while to gain traction because of course you've gone in a different direction. So all the seeds that you've planted aren't going to grow. So that was part of it. But the other big thing was, once I got super clear on who I wanted to call in, which is ambitious moms who want 6-figure success and time for life, then I started hosting those summits. And I think it was about 3 months before I started signing the higher ticket one-on-one clients.
Okay. Okay, so you say already that why you decided to because there is lots of strategies to generate leads. And so for you, in one sentence, why you choose summits over the other strategies? Have you ever tried the other strategies?
I feel like I tried all of the other strategies. So I tried running my own Facebook ads, like for quite a while, and I took a lot of courses to learn how to do it all. So I know quite a bit about Facebook ads, which I don't actually need to know, but I also tried lead magnets. I tried participating in a whole bunch of other Facebook groups. I tried going out and DMing one by one. I feel like I tried a lot of different things, but the piece about the collaboration that I love and why I'm such a huge fan of it, and that's why I teach it, is that it happens the fastest because you grow a big list in a short amount of time. But it also establishes you as an authority by association, because you're basically cross-pollinating a bunch of audiences, which is very powerful in the online space, because it gets you recognized as that authority, as having credibility in your space right away, which automatically puts you into the warm category with a lot of people instead of cold. So I mean, that's very difficult to do, to go from cold to hot to buy, very quickly, especially with all the noise that's online right now. But if you go to an event where you hear someone speak and they were recommended by somebody that you're already on their email list or in their world, and you already like them, know, like, and trust, then it's a lot easier to get traction faster.
And can you explain in a few words, in a simple way, what is the summit about? Because, there will be some people that they hear it for the first time, summit. What is it?
Yeah, so the summits that I run, you basically pick one topic or theme that you want to teach about, and then you invite a bunch of speakers who are going to bring different angles or talk about a different aspect of that one topic. That's how I run them. Some people run giant summits. I've tried that before and I didn't love it, because I felt like the audience couldn't actually consume that much information. And so it wasn't really a win for them. So I actually run simple summits, I call them. So there's 6 speakers, they're half an hour each. I run them live. So it's a 3-hour event, which is easy to catch. You can catch half of it now and half of it later, or you could catch it a couple different evenings, or while you're doing dishes and laundry, whatever. Like, it's for ambitious moms. And so it's very important that we can kind of consume that information. But I love to pick one topic that my audience, or somebody that would be a potential ideal client for me down the road, would really want to know about right now in their business. And then I invite a whole bunch of experts about that topic and I interview them.
And how do you find the speakers? Because I think this will be the first question,
Yeah.
Especially, when you're starting.
How do I do the tech, or how do I find speakers? Those are the 2 first questions that people ask.
Both.
Yeah. So
Both.
For the tech, it's really easy. Like, keep it as simple as possible. I like to run them on Zoom. It's really simple that way. And then I like to have a Facebook group that I'm actually feeding the Facebook Live into from Zoom.
Sorry, the noise that you're hearing in my kids. I told them to be quiet.
Hey, I'm the ambitious mom. It's all good. Yeah, tech, I say keep it super simple. You don't have to have a whole system in the background, especially when you're first starting out. You can be as simple as you want. You could even run it from your Gmail account if you want onto Zoom. And all you need is the link to send out to your people, and a place to, hold their email addresses. People automatically think, oh, if I start running summits, I need to be prepared for this huge influx of, I don't know what they think. But honestly, if you're pulling in 50 to 100, 200 people at a time, that's a ton of people. Because the other piece that people forget is that you want to actually be able to go out and talk to real people and build relationships. I think in online business, we come on and we think it's just going to be this mechanical thing, that if we find the magic words, people are just going to, come through the floodgates to work with us and hit buy, 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 buy. And most people who actually have that happening in their businesses have been at this for 10 years and finally dialed in their messaging and dialed in their process to be fine-tuned enough to work that way, right? Like, websites, you don't just put up a website and then everybody just comes and buys from you. It takes a long time to find the right words, to craft it in a way to know exactly who you're talking to and what they want to hear and what helps them make a buying decision. That doesn't happen overnight. So I love to do the live events, and then I like to teach other events, like other virtual events, like masterclass, workshop, challenge on the other side, so that you can go in and talk to real people, because you don't have to be perfect that way. You don't have to have it all figured out. There's a lot more room to move. So tech, keep it super simple. And then the other thing about finding speakers, figure out what topic you want to teach about and talk about, and then go out into social media and find out who's an expert in that field. So I literally go out and search. The way I started was I would search Facebook groups for the topics that I wanted. I would go into Facebook groups that I was a part of and ask for recommendations and tell them exactly what I was looking for. And a lot of people came through from that. And what was the other way? Yeah, like Instagram, you could Google, you could look for otter on Amazon. Like there's so many ways to find. And the other piece that I always really encourage the ladies that I work with is, don't ever be scared of who you're going to pull in and what they're going to make you look like. And you were already going to be powerful by association.
So give me a second.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption. I have a situation. It's all clear now. Yeah, Mara, so you were saying, can you hear me?
Finding speakers. It's actually, I had like a copy paste message that I created. I would tweak it for each person that I would reach out to, and I would say, hey, I saw that you do this, I'm hosting a summit or an event coming up and it's about this specifically. I would love to, to the first part of the message, which is really important, so that it gets read instead of ignored. A lot of the people would reach back out and say, yeah, that sounds awesome. Like, I'd like to know more about it. And then I would just invite them to a quick speaker connection call, I call it. 15
But
minutes.
you know what, one thing that holds me back, for example, because I was hosting my first webinar, but it was just by myself, because I wanted to try all the tech, I wanted to check the interest and so on. But the one thing that holds me back to ask speakers is that, I have very small following at the moment. So how I can convince the speakers to speak on my summit if they can, like, my audience is very small, so I don't have much to offer for them.
So, but you do if you invite other big speakers. That they're cross-pollinating with their audiences too, right?
Right. But like when you have one speaker with a big audience, later on it's easier to convince the other speakers because you have already somebody, who agreed. But how to find the first one?
Oh, I just assumed I would find 6 good ones.
Right.
So when I first started, I had a list minimum size. So I would say you have to have at least 5,000 people on your email list to speak at this summit. Which now I've actually gone away from, because I lost a lot of really good, powerful speakers who had really engaged audiences because of that. That's the way I was taught in a course that I took on how to run summits. Now I like the chemistry more, and I like to know what type of people they have in their audience. So if you feel like you want to run like a trial run summit, then you could ask a lot of other kind of newer beginner people in your field. And then it's just a collaboration where you all get together. But if you want to start building a bigger list, like if you want hundreds of people to come onto your list, or even thousands for each summit that you do, you would have to move up and make sure you're really specific about who you're inviting. But also keep in mind that a big summit speaker is going to want to know who else is coming. Just like you said. And so you could say, I have a list minimum of XYZ, like if it's 1,000 or if it's 2,500 or 5,000 or whatever. And that way somebody has a pretty good idea. Okay, well, I will be able to get in front of a couple hundred people just by showing up for 20 minutes or half an hour. So then it doesn't matter what you are doing in the middle as the host, as long as you're putting on a good event, you're organized, and you're going to invite, similar kind of caliber speakers. People are happy to come and show up for it.
And about the time of preparing the summit, how long it will take you, how long you should, how long the whole preparation will last.
So when I say if it's your very first summit, I would say give yourself at least 4 weeks. I'd say 6 weeks is probably a sweet spot, because it'll probably take you 2 to 3 weeks to fill the speaker spots, because you do have to reach out and interview people and get things organized. And then you probably want, you know, a good 2 or 3 weeks in the middle to kind of prep all of your stuff, get your graphics done, get your emails written. I have like a template for all of the checklist for all the things. And then you want to make sure that you get the promo packages out to your speakers, you know, a couple weeks in advance, and then you have them promote the event for about 10 days before it happens. That's my simple summit process. Some people have, you know, fancier ones. I just say keep it simple. So I would say for your first summit, give yourself about 4 to 6 weeks. And then after that, you can actually, I say you can, you know, bang them out a lot quicker, because for me right now, if I wanted to host like today, if I decided, okay, I want to host a summit, I would say, okay, I'll do it in 3 weeks. Cause I know I could, because of my, now I have a lot of speakers in my kind of arsenal, let's call it
portfolio.
Yeah. Well, I've hosted a lot of summits now. I think I'm up to like 9 or 10 in the last year and a half. So I know that I can call the girls and just message them and be like, hey, I'm going to host another, here's the topic. It's going to be this date. Can you make it? And they'd say, yeah, no problem. And I say, okay, promo requirements are this. And they say, yep. If they agree to it, then great. I'll send you the stuff. So
so here's my next question. Sorry. How often do you host the summits?
Depends how much you want to, you know, how often you want to bring people into your business. If you're running summits, I haven't had any of my clients have less than 50 people, brand new people, come in on their list for each summit they posted. So if you think about, maybe you have 5 people in that list that are going to probably be warm or that you can nurture into clients. It depends how much your offers are, and it depends how many clients you want to have at a time, and it depends, you know, if you have a lot of really small ticket offers, then you can, like low ticket offers, then you want to build a lot bigger, faster. But if you have, you know, high ticket offers, you're going to want to nurture those people and really find out what they need. And so you're going to want time to actually communicate with them. I always ask everybody for their Instagram handle on the way in now. And I always ask a question about what they want to learn or what they're struggling with right now about that specific topic, because that helps me either create other summits or other events or market to them afterwards very easily because I've got their words.
I wanted to ask you something else as well. I wanted to say that to everyone that, you know, it's not the numbers. Like, in fact, recently I was hosting my own webinar, and what I find, it was very difficult to fill in to get people registered for the webinar. It was the most challenging part. And I can see with the summits, it's the other people who promote the event to their audiences. So I think it would be much easier to get people into, you know, your event than when you are hosting yourself.
Yes, 100%. That's the beautiful thing about summits, is that you're being promoted by all those other speakers, and then those people come into your list. And now if you host a webinar on the other side of it that has a relevant title and topic, you know, for those people that you just invited in through that summit, now, of course, it's a no-brainer next step to go to your webinar. And so now all of a sudden you've got traction.
And also, you know, with the webinars about the numbers, I just want to relate to the numbers, that it's not so important to have big numbers, because, for example, it was my very first webinar, and I have 16 people registered, but I have 2 calls booked from 16 people. So you don't have to have like hundreds. And as I was saying, it was much easier for me to, you know, to follow up, to, you know, get in contact with everyone who has participated in the webinar. So it's not about the numbers, it's about the quality of the people.
And I also think that sometimes the smaller events actually turn out better for conversion, because you have the ability to really communicate with them and to really nurture those relationships while your event's, you know, around your event. And so then you get that personal touch and that personal connection on a totally different level than if you had a webinar where hundreds of people showed up. You know, there's so many people that would fall through the cracks because you wouldn't be able to connect with them. So I actually that's my simple events, same thing. It's like you keep them simple, small, so that you can actually connect and actually build those relationships and find out what your people need.
And if people will be wondering what results they can get. So when you're only starting, how much leads you can get from the summit? Let's say you have 6 speakers. So more or less, how many leads you can get?
The minimum that my clients have gotten is, I think, 53 is the minimum.
53 leads?
53 leads, yep.
Great.
That's the lowest that any of my girls have gotten. But that's following the process and making sure that you're pulling in speakers who have it doesn't have to be giant audiences, but engaged audiences for sure. So we have a process for that.
And later on from the summit, how you drive the leads to your business?
Yeah, so I like to put them in my email. I mean, everybody builds their email list, which is the asset that you own, right? Your website and your email list are the things that you actually control and own in the world of online biz, because you're just renting space on social media, right? They can pull your accounts anytime, it can get hacked, whatever can happen. And so I always focus on my email list first out of everything. And so I drive traffic from my email list to an event that I host. So I drive them back to social media, to a registration page on my website, or like to my Facebook group if I'm hosting an event in there. But most importantly, I build my email list first, and I communicate the most there, most consistently. Because social media, you go on vacation as a mom or whatever, and you forget to post 100 times.
And the algorithm will go down straight away.
Algorithm reach is like gone to crap, but your email list stays steady, right? It's a beautiful thing. So I like to build that asset.
Yeah, so I always repeat, to all my listeners that, get the leads, put on your email list where you can nurture the people and you can make offers regularly later on. Because to your email list. Okay, so right now, just to wrap it up, because the time is going very quickly, what one thing, we have talked about many things, what one thing you would like people to remember from today's episode?
For me, there's two things. There's make sure that you recognize the fact that you can't just think your way through your business. You actually have to show up and go find people, real people, to talk to. Talk to real people is one of the biggest pieces of advice I could give, and build an audience with the right people in it. Focus your energy there. If you don't have anyone who's watching you, then creating the best content in the world, having the best messaging and the best offers and the best, coaching or services, whatever you're putting together, whatever you sell, it doesn't actually matter if nobody knows you exist. So really focus on your lead gen first. And also when you're generating leads and people are coming into your community, go talk to real people, because we need to be in contact with real people at all times so that we can market and sell to them, because marketing is all about giving people what they want or they think they want instead of what they need. You have to be able to sell them what they want in order to deliver what they need on the back end.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you very much. And I think, it's very important also when you're only starting to keep it simple. Don't look at the people who are far away from you. Like, they have long established businesses. Just start simple. Don't overcomplicate things, because I can see it over and over again that people really overcomplicate everything. And it's just being in contact and talking to people and keeping this relationship going. Mara, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for accepting the invitation to the podcast. Tell me, if people want to get in touch with you, where is the best place to find you?
If you want to just chat with me, go to social media and DM me on Instagram or Facebook. It's just Mara Riopel. Or go to my website, marariopel.com. And I probably have a leads challenge or a business breakthrough challenge or something coming up on my homepage there. I change it, all the time for whatever events I'm hosting next. So come in and join one of my events. I'm very active in coaching for free in the DMs during my events. So if anyone wants some help, then that's a great way to get started.
Do you have any lead magnet? Do you want to share any freebie for people?
Sure, I could. Yeah, I'll drop something in the show notes for. I could give them.
Do you have any challenge coming up?
I do. Yeah, I have a business breakthrough challenge happening right away.
When?
March 20th.
March 20th?
Yep.
Okay, I will leave all the contacts to Mara in the description in the podcast, and also there will be link to the challenge. So thank you very much once again, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you, Mara. Thanks. Bye-bye.